Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the new moon that happens on May 30th. It kind of setting the tone for June, but this is a very important new moon, very powerful. It sits right there at 14, almost 15 degrees of Taurus. So the sun and moon are just about 15 degrees of Taurus in the nakshatra Rohini, very powerful nakshatra for the moon. So this is going to be a jump start for the month of June. But one thing I do notice is that this is almost exactly opposed the fixed star Antares, which sits at 16 degrees of Scorpio. And this star deals specifically with war. And that's what's been going on. And I think this is a lot of what is happening at this time of this new moon, what it's trying to tell us. Now, you may not know this, but 15 degrees of a fixed sign always is Virgotama in the Navamsha chart, and probably a lot of you don't know what I'm talking about, but just take my word for it. It means it's extremely powerful. Okay, before we go on, I am going to remind everyone right here and now to sign up for my free newsletter, where you can get all of my predictions delivered to your email address once a week. So go to galacticcenter.org, and while you're there, look at my beautiful spiritual jewelry. And the other thing is, I am starting a new University of Vedic Astrology start date, which we don't start these very often, but look for it, jump on board, because I'm going to start the live webinars on July 6th. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Now, continuing on about this new moon, this day is very important, May 30th, because all at the same time, we have Jupiter and Mars exactly conjunct around 9, almost 10 degrees of Pisces. This is so important. These two planets coming together are vitally important. Now, Jupiter is very strong in Pisces, and Pisces rules the oceans, it rules the seas, and we're not too far away from the eclipse season. We had a solar eclipse in April and a lunar eclipse May 16th. So we're still pretty much under this eclipse energy, which does make the earth very much shake, whether it's earthquakes or tsunamis, or whether it is just extreme emotional volatility going on planet Earth. It is an intense time. So going back to this Mars-Jupiter conjunction, along with the energies of the eclipse, you're going to find that this will really stir up the oceans, because you know, what is Pisces? The ocean. Pisces means fish. So things are going to really start roaring, maybe extremes with weather. And a lot is going on too with this time, with the fuel prices, with Neptune being in Pisces and Mars triggering both Neptune and Jupiter. Mars is a trigger, and Mars is going to be stepping things up. Now, Jupiter makes things bigger, so you can expect that there will be events that are huge and monumental the end of May and throughout June. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because not only do we have all of these energies, the thing that's going to really flavor this particular time is that Mercury is still retrograde at this time. And it's slowing down because it's going to go direct on June 3rd. But during this time that it's slowing down to shift gears, in other words, shift directions, that means it almost comes to a halt and a stop. It's in a square aspect to Saturn, which Saturn is about to go retrograde around the 3rd of June. So this energy is very volatile, because when you look at Saturn's aspect to Mercury, Mercury goes direct, but Saturn goes retrograde. It's going to depict some kind of pullback. And I think it's got something to do with money, finances. I think it has something to do with the war. Maybe this money that is issued to go to Ukraine may not come through, or something about it is going to cause havoc around the world. The war is changing this month of May, particularly June. And something big is going to happen that I think is going to cause many to be relieved. There's going to be a change. But at this time, you won't see it. The very end of May, you're going to think something's about to happen that's going to shift this, and it will. But there's a major setback around this time and major blow-ups. Jupiter with Mars is powerful. Saturn squaring Mercury. And Saturn will probably square Mercury quite often throughout the year, but not when they're standing still. And what is Mercury? Communications. It means the communications are not coming through properly. Things are stalled. Things are on a setback timeline, and nobody's understanding what anyone needs right now. Communications are lost during this time. The news, the media, nobody can get through with the right answers. And of course, everybody's blaming everyone for something that they shouldn't even be blamed for. There's miscommunication all over the world at this time. Lay low. Things will change once Mercury starts to pick up some speed. But right at the time when it's stationing, we're not going to see the effects of a Mercury direct while it's squaring Saturn. And so I'm going to say that the first week of June, look out, lay low. Things will be topsy-turvy, especially even things with traveling. So I know I told everyone, go on vacation, relax during this time, but do realize getting to point A to point B will be very difficult. But once you're there, you can chill. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Mercury does deal with travel, and I do see where June it's going to be more feasible once we get Mercury where it's not stationing, squaring Saturn, moves on. So mid-June, we're fine with the travel plans. But all at the same time, we have Venus in Aries. This is passion. But sometimes it's not the right passion. It's passion that can get us into trouble. So be careful where you go with your passion, your emotions, and relationships. Watch what you say, because Venus in Mars sign, you could say things that you don't necessarily mean, or you don't want to say things you will regret later. This is an important time to realize that. And I do think you're going to see all sorts of craziness stepping up with the war. But let me remind you, everything that you're being told about the war is probably not correct. Why? Because I see this miscommunication and the money being spent. That money being spent is, let me remind everyone, probably to drain a certain area or country so that they will be weaker later. I'm not going to go into detail with that, but think about what I just said. And this could be with money, and it can also be with media and where attention's going. Because this is more calculated than we know. We'll find out later. And I hope it's not too late, but we will find out. So also looking at this new moon, by the fact that it is in the sign of Rohini, this is Taurus, and this deals with food. So I think the farmers and the food supplies will start to come through. Much better supplies, shipping, all of that. After about to the second week of June, things will start moving again. Things will really start picking up concerning this. Now, let me go back to Mars being with Jupiter. I know I said it's in Pisces around 9-10 degrees, but it's in the nakshatra called Uttara Bhadrapada. This is really, really important. This nakshatra is very deep, very profound. The things that are happening on planet Earth need to be double checked because there's something that's not being attested to or seen clearly. But this nakshatra, it does deal with the end of the sign of Pisces. Actually, Purva Bhadrapada, which is flanked in Aquarius and part of Pisces, and Uttara Bhadrapada, which is entirely in the sign of Pisces, is said to be the back end of the funeral cot. And yes, that does depict that there's going to be some kind of explosive event, probably around this time of May 30th, when we have the new moon, when Jupiter and Mars are conjunct, because this is a big explosive event. And I know I've been saying it's a good time for some, but it's a very bad time for others. I can't say that it's good or bad, because depending on where you are in the world is going to determine what you're experiencing. Now, power will be sent to world leaders at this time. There will be a rise in power. Where there's a decline, another person will rise. So there will be a decline. I'm looking at that. That's already been happening in May. And by the time we go into June, there will be a rise of power. And this nakshatra, Uttara Bhadrapada, it does deal with the back end of the funeral cot, which means there could be some event that causes a lot of death. But I believe that once that is cleared, things will get better. It's almost like this is inevitable, something that's got to happen in order for a change to happen. And as I keep directing everyone, notice that the first few weeks of July, there will be a total relief before another completely different drama will take place. This 2022, it is an enormous year for radical changes, roller coaster ride, volatility in every way. So if you think I'm being hypocritical, think again, because this is a time of major highs, major lows, and from one good thing to a bad thing, to a bad thing, to a good thing, to a bad thing. All of that is happening this year. And maybe many of you think it's all bad, but it's not. There is going to be a clearing. And this needs to happen. But this full moon, let me go back to its essence, being in Taurus, almost 15 degrees. This is really, really strong. So things will get better in the area of foods and agriculture, shipping. Yeah, shipping will improve and get better. But in some parts of the world, there's trauma and drama, and there will be problems with the oceans and the seas. So something, maybe shaking of the earth and eruptions could occur sometime around this time. But it is going to be the start of a better month after the second week of June. So watch for that. Keep your positive frame of mind going, and you're going to see better days. I'm not going to say months, but better days. And my prediction is that this new moon will be a turning point. So watch for it. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me, remember you can go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. And if you would like to study with me, my university is truly an experience you won't want to miss. So go to University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.